I'm a god.
Well, what if there is no tomorrow?
I'm a god.
There wasn't one today.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of It's Time to Rewind, a podcast stuck in its own time loop right along with the movies we discuss. And this season we are taking a look at Groundhog Day, after day, after day, after day. I'm your host Bubba Wheat from Flights, Tights, and Movie Nights, and in this episode we are discussing Phil's 12th Groundhog Day that starts and ends at 56 minutes and 27 seconds with Phil getting slapped. Today my guest is Jason Soto from Whatever with Jason Soto. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you, Bubba Wheat?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a pleasure to have you on here to talk about this time loop where Phil gets slapped.
Yes.
So he gets slapped, right?
He gets slapped. Slapped.
All right, and that's it. Thanks for coming in. I'm that's the loop. Do you want to go ahead and tell everybody else where they can find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at Famous Comedian, or you can check out all the podcasts that I'm involved in, Whatever with Jason Soto, Top 5 A through Z, Between the Scares, over at rabbitholepodcasts.com.
And I am Bubba Wheat from Flights, Tights, and MovieNights.com. And you can find this podcast, It's Time to Rewind, on Anchor.fm or anywhere else you can find podcasts. So let's get slap happy.
I'm a god.
Well, what if there is no tomorrow?
I'm a god.
There wasn't one today.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of It's Time to Rewind, a podcast stuck in its own time loop right along with the movies we discuss. In this episode, we're taking a look at Groundhog Day after day, after day, after day, after day. I'm your host, Bubba Wheat from Flights, Tights, and Movie Nights, and in this episode, we're discussing Phil's 13th Groundhog Day that starts and ends at 56 minutes and 28 seconds with Phil getting slapped. Today, my guest is Jason Soto from Whatever with Jason Soto. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me back. I had so much fun the last time. I just had to come do this again.
Hey, didn't we just do this one?
Something seems familiar. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? Since the last episode was so short, I decided to have you back on again, and, I thought I'd go ahead and treat the listeners with a double episode.
Oh, nice.
I didn't get a chance to ask you yesterday, but what would you say is your experience with time loop movies, like, in general?
My experience with them? I have to just say that they feel very familiar. Like, I get a sense of deja vu every time I watch them. It's like I've seen it before.
Yeah, I get that too.
Weird. It's weird. But it's like, I don't think I did, but maybe I did. I don't know.
Is there any other ones besides Groundhog Days that maybe you would recommend to people?
I do, actually, yes. It's a made-for-TV movie, which is controversial because people don't say made-for-TV movies are movies. They don't count, but I'm counting it. It's called 1201. It came out actually right around the time Groundhog Day was in theaters.
There was actually a lawsuit involving that.
Yeah, I kind of remember hearing about that. But it stars Jonathan Silverman, who I don't know if any younger people know who that is. He was a really huge actor in the 80s and early 90s.
Wasn't he the single guy?
He was a single guy. He was in Weekend at Bernie's, Weekend at Bernie's 2. And then he was in this movie where he plays a corporate guy who gets stuck into a time loop and finds himself in a nefarious murder plot.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that one out in a later season of this show.
Awesome. I look forward to hearing that or being on there. I'll definitely be a guest for that one as well.
Sure. This is like a slap montage, and it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I figured, we got to have a little bit of fun with it. So, I was thinking let's rate these slaps.
Okay. Okay, sure. I'm down for that.
This is The one for today is the second slap, and
Second.
this is the one where you don't even get to see Rita at all. You just see her hand.
Yes.
Do you think that's even, Andy McDowell, or do you think it's a hand-in?
I feel like this totally could be a scene that Harold Ramis was like, Andy, you don't need to be here for this. I can either put the glove on myself and slap him because, it's Bill Murray and I kind of want to slap Bill Murray. So it could be Harold Ramis. It could be an extra. It could be an unpaid intern, or it could be Andy McDowell. I mean, she could have took one for the team and is like, no, please allow me. Let me be the one to slap him, even though I'm not on camera. I don't have like a definitive answer, so it could be anybody. It really could be. I mean, you never know. I kind of like to think though it's Harold Ramis though doing it.
Yeah, especially since they didn't actually have a good relationship in this movie,
Right.
and I believe that this was the movie where this was like the last movie that they worked together for a long time.
Really, yeah, absolutely, it was. Yeah, they had a big disagreement and they kind of parted ways after this. So very well could be Harold Ramis. You never know.
If you had to give it a rating, like say out of 10, what would you rate it?
This slap we're talking about now, I'd say it's a good 7 out of 10. If it's the one I'm thinking of, because I watched the slaps kind of all in a row, so I'm trying to remember which one the second one was. I think this is the one that, if I remember correctly, the one that only kind of barely touches his cheek, maybe kind of hits his mouth a little bit. So it wasn't like a full on slap.
Yeah, I felt like this one was a bit of a softer slap.
Yeah. There's some harder ones coming up. I think this is a little bit, this is in the early part. So 7 out of 10. I'll give it 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I didn't like this one as much because it was a softer slap. I would give this one a 4 out of 10. And, since we kind of skipped over it really quickly, what about the first slap? Because, the first one is whenever she actually is in Phil's room and, she's just wearing the dress shirt.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. That was a pretty brutal one. I'm going to give that one probably a 9 out of 10 because it was like, because it followed like he thought like they were getting romantic and he thought they were getting romantic and then he messes up and then she slaps him and then you're like, oh, dang, that's crazy. So I give that one a 9 because this is how brutal and sudden it is. And then you get all the ones after that, so.
Yeah. I would say I'm with you. I do like the first slap a lot. I think there's a slap coming later, but I'm gonna save rating the later slaps until we actually get to them. But I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
But what do you think of this montage as a whole? This is the first montage that we get.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that is true. I think it's kind of funny because we're only seeing like 1 second of a full day that he had to live. So like he did stuff before this slap and then he had to go do stuff after the slap, right? So we're only seeing like a second of it, but he had to like deal with this. And then he had to like think, okay, I need to do this again the next day. And so he's planning after the slap, like, how do I do this differently? And then he has to worry about it again, thinking about, okay, I need to not get slapped again because this is my second time being slapped. So, he has to spend this whole day up until this morning because it's like at night. It's like, it was like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night or whatever. And he had to do the whole news bit scene. And then he had to like go, oh, we're stuck in the town, blah, blah, blah stuff. And then, he might have done some other random things like I'm going to steal more money or whatever. But then he had to go get his set up for the date with Rita. And then he gets slapped. But we only see like a second of this. So to me, it's kind of funny that we just skip all the stuff that he had to go through or thought process just to see him get slapped.
Yeah, and it is Rita, and she's the producer. So you mentioned he does have to do the weather report every single day because he can't just skip out on the weather report. If he did that, then Rita wouldn't want to talk to him. Mm-hmm. Like she wouldn't give him the time of day.
Right, exactly. So he had to go through the news report again, try to get into her good graces through the whole early part of the day to get to the date, which then led to him getting slapped. And then here's another thing I'm wondering. We don't ever see what he does, subsequently after the first slap that gets him slapped. Like, did he do the same mistake, or is this like a different mess up he did? Like, did he say something different, or did he offend her in some other way?
Yeah, and this is the second one in this group of like 1 second slaps, and the first one that we saw was her in her shirt, and then this one we don't even really see Andie MacDowell. We only see her hand, but we do see that she's wearing a glove, so we can at least figure out that this is that she didn't make it into his room, so they're still outside.
Right.
But that's about all we get on this one.
That is true. Yes, that is very accurate. Yes.
So he didn't make it as far as he did in basically his best version of the date, which is the very first time that we see him get slapped, which was like 2 days ago, I think.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we're still going to keep these pretty short since, we're just talking about a slap, and we got a lot more slaps to go through.
Yeah, we do.
So even though this is a double episode, I think unless there's anything else you want to say about this specific slap.
No, I think I'm slapped out right now.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to call this a day, and we'll be back. Can you come back again tomorrow to talk about the next the 1 second slap?
There's some force that I think is making me come back. So whether I want to or not, that's not really the question. So I probably will be here. So yeah, I think you're gonna have me. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
I'm a god.
Well, what if there is no tomorrow?
I'm a god.
There wasn't one today.